Good evening, everyone. This is the stoppage time penalty show, and we're gonna do it a little bit different today. Well, welcome Nana, Barry, Coach Barry, Owen, and our first special guest, professional footballer Jose. So there's a reason why I can't show my face right now, but you know what? Let's move on from there. I'll be lurking in the background. Again, thank you to everyone that's tuning in. And again, it's a fun-filled show. We have two professional footballers coming onto the show. We have the vet segment as well, which I know is going to be very, very interesting. But you know what? Let me stop talking, and I will let the hosts take over.
Tanana.
Well, good evening, people. Yeah, today we're doing things differently. There's a quadruple hosts. Yours truly, myself, Barry, Coach Barry, and Owen. Let's go straight into it. Jose Ferreira, thank you for joining us today. The floor is yours. You know, we want to know how to be a professional footballer. I mean, there's so many people around. There's so many kids who want to play football. Their dream is to play football, and we want you to give us an insight, or give them an insight on what it takes in terms of dedication, hard work. What does it take to be a professional footballer? How do you maintain that standard and stay there? And also, if it doesn't happen for you, what do you do?
That's a great question. Actually, the last one. First of all, thank you very much for having me and to be able to share my experiences. And what people usually tend to tell me is that it's not a traditional experience what I've had to get to where I am today. Obviously, like many other careers, it's like there's always ups, there's always downs, and it's I think what separates professionals from the traditional normal player a lot of the times is the reaction to those setbacks, the mental resilience. It's to reach professional football, and in my eyes, I want to like just get even higher, and push onwards and push as far as I can. And I think the mental resilience is so important, and overcoming setbacks, and then remaining consistent once you get to the levels, because there's so many things that can happen throughout your life, throughout your careers as well. It can be injuries, and there can be unexpected. Like I've just had to overcome the first one in my career, and that's at 23. So that's I think a good age to go quite a while without suffering anything. So, just like personal life, social factors, everything outside of football. And to reach the very top, you have to be prepared to make sacrifices and to balance all these factors that can be external to football as well. So there's a lot to go into, a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, overcoming a lot of factors, and just even before you make it as a professional footballer, before you reach to that level, it's balancing your ambition to be a professional footballer with other things that could work as something to fall back on.
So, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, where you started playing, where you are now, and how things are going for you?
So I'm 23 years old now. I'm a right back mainly, but I can also play left back, winger, and if really necessary, as a central defender as well. I started playing at a very young age in Portugal, and I started at a club called Grupo Esportivo de Carcavelos, and that was like my local club. It was my equivalent, my grassroots club. And it wasn't the first club I went into, because I was 2 weeks at Sporting Lisbon at a very young age. And that's obviously like where anyone would have wanted to stay. But obviously that's where everyone wants to go. So it doesn't work out for everyone. So for me, I went into this grassroots club, as well as playing for my school team as well. Obviously, I had a couple of years, and I remember 2 particular good years, player of the year in my team. And then under 19s, I went to another local club. And at that time, I wasn't really thinking, obviously I wanted to be a professional footballer, but I was still very focused in my education. My parents also instilled that thought, the idea that education is also an important factor of your life, and I think that no player should completely drop their education. You should always have that focus because it's possible to do both, I think. So obviously, it wasn't until I left that first year at under 19s and I came to England and I moved to Liverpool to live in. And I remember at the time I was 17, just turned 18. And that was my first experience out of home as well. And the first year where I could focus on entirely just on football. And it was a great experience to me. I was exposed to English football. I was exposed to the reality of how tough it actually is as well. Because I feel like playing in Portugal, it was all very possession based. And then coming here, the fitness was a reality check for me, the levels. And it was that year was where I thought, okay, maybe I can actually start taking football a bit more seriously. So after I went into play in the semi-pro leagues as well. So I went into a couple of clubs around Liverpool area, and this was throughout 2017 to 2019, I want to say. Played at counties level, focusing alongside my education, which was my agreement that I had with my dad as well, because he wanted me to still get my education. I could have gone back after I finished that year. I had a few scholarship offers in the USA as well, but that wasn't the path that I wanted to take. I thought because the semi-pro football in the UK is, I feel like, a really good level to develop as a young player as well. You're exposed to adult football it can be at a really young age as well. And it toughens you up a lot. And I think those years were massive for me, just to feel the reality of what football really is and how difficult it can actually be. So after that, and after I finished my education, I went back, which was my agreement with my parents. Now I can entirely go on to football. Throughout my education, I was always doing my individual training around my, obviously, semi-pro schedule, which, I always focused on my diet. I never let that stuff go. And then went back to Portugal. So I actually trialed with a club that's in the second league. Well, now they've been promoted to the Prem, but at the time they were a second league club. So they're called Estoril Praia. So I was there and trained with them for 2 days. And then I got the opportunity to go to the club I actually signed for, which was Oliveira. So I left that trial to go to Oliveira. And there, at the time, we were Portuguese third tier. So I don't know why I said at the time, because we actually got promoted, but to change the systems of how the leagues work in Portugal. So they've been promoted, but they're still in the third tier, if you understand what I mean. But basically, after that, the first trial, I left, went to this club. And the reason why I went there was because that was a club I kind of wanted to go to before I went into education. And my family, my mom's side is from that city. So I thought I used to watch them as a kid. So I thought it'd be, really interesting if I actually started my professional career at that club. And I'm really glad I did that, because I got matched with the manager, who was a former professional footballer in Portugal. And I think that was a really good experience for me to also, after a couple of years in non-league, to see a different style as well. So back to, very possession-based, very technical-based. And I had to work on those attributes. But it was good that I got this year to work on these attributes, because when I've come over here, I feel like I've come as more of a complete player. So that year I was mostly like a squad player, but it was a really great experience for me, and I've learned a lot. It was a really important year for me, and obviously the promotion was great, and it was great to be a part of that squad as well. At the end of the year, I had the opportunity to come back to the UK. So initially, it was a different club from where I actually signed. I'm not going to name drop that club, because I don't really, to this day, I still don't really appreciate what happened there very much. But it's football, and it goes back to what I said initially about being resilient and having really tough mental strength. Because they all fell through, and then a couple of weeks later, I was starting to worry, I'm not going to be able to find something. It's like getting closer and closer to deadline day every day. And that's where Kevin Druids came in. I got the chance to come train with him, and I enjoyed it. Initially with the first manager that we had, really enjoyed it. Ended up signing, and I'm glad that I did, because I'm being able. I always said, when I was in the third tier, obviously all your objective is always to take the next step. So for me, it was, maybe playing in a second tier, or maybe playing in a Welsh Premier League. Well, I didn't say, like I said, like a first tier in general, and obviously the Welsh Premier League gave me that opportunity. Kevin Druids gave me that opportunity, and that's where I'm at today. And I've really enjoyed this year. Though we haven't had much luck with the results, but I still feel that we can change that. And I feel like, especially this January, we've really strengthened, and we're really working hard towards positivities there. And I'm really hoping that we can change it around. Unfortunately, I've suffered an injury, I think I want to say October, and I was out for a really long time. And then the league got suspended once I was actually making my comeback due to COVID. But I've made my return last Friday, and I'm really hoping that things go more positive from now. But yeah.
Fantastic. Good evening, Coach Barry. Let's start with you. Have you got any questions for Jose? You're on mute, Barry.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Jose. What you say now? Sorry, Nana.
So, as you're aware, Jose is a professional footballer, making his way. And I was just wondering if you had any questions for him.
He's got a very interesting journey. The main thing, like I say, like you said, lots of people drop out. Jose, have you stayed hungry? Have you stayed hungry with the appetite to become a professional footballer? Because it seems like you've had a lot of downs more than us.
Everyone does.
How do you keep the appetite and that hunger going at age 23? A lot of boys, young men at that age, would just go on to another career at 23 and might be playing semi-pro football and don't look at their dreams anymore as being a top professional. But how have you kept the hunger and belief that you can be a top professional footballer?
There are times where you think, like, maybe I should just follow another path. Maybe it's not going to quite work out. Everyone has their mornings where they're thinking that. It's normal. I've got a really good support network around me, which really helps. So surrounding yourself by the right people is something that I think has really helped me.
I agree.
And it's hard. Like, it's hard to say. I think back to the days where I was at university, and sometimes I was waking up at like 5:30 in the morning to go to the gym, and then to go out on a grass. I wouldn't even say a pitch, because the access around Liverpool was actually surprisingly quite difficult. So it was just a patch of grass. Wavertree Park was the one I usually go to, and just going out and doing my own running, my own football stuff, working on the technical side, and then that's when you finish your session, and that's where I'm like, this is so worth it. When you see seeing your own personal development. I remember something my manager said to me last year, and I think I'll go my whole career and never forget that. There's 3 types of player in the world, and players that want to play for financial gain, players that want to play for trophies, and players that just want to see their own personal development. And he actually used me as an example, and when he did that discussion. So the fact that I was staying after games to do my own running, to do my own technical side of things, days off, I was on the pitch doing, again, my own bits. And I think it's just wanting to see myself get to that level, get as high as I can, and not just for me, for my family, for the people that supported me. So I think that's been a big factor. It's just seeing the personal development and being surrounded by the right people.
Yeah, but it also shows you've got discipline and you've got a very strong mentality, so you can go a very long way.
Yeah,
for me,
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, discipline is one of the biggest keys to keep going, to be disciplined within oneself.
And it goes beyond it goes beyond that. It can be discipline to like knowing when to say no to temptations. So when your friends want to go do something there, but you're like, I can't, I've got training.
But that's discipline, isn't it? You've disciplined yourself to condition yourself not to. That's all comes under discipline. It's all the same. Yeah. If you know what your goal is, you stay disciplined to that goal. A lot of people can't do that. And a lot of people fail with setbacks. Yeah, but that's part of life. Setbacks is always going to be part of our life. It's how you handle it. It's how you adapt to certain conditions in life where you want to go. So you got to be able to adapt to the conditions, and you're showing that. So you must have a very strong mentality. You know what you want, don't you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I wouldn't change what I have today for anything else. And I think it shaped me to be how I am today.
Yeah.
And every experience I've had has helped me and shaped me in a way. And someone who's probably like one of the biggest setbacks I've ever had in my life. But you know, we live on, we carry on, and
just keep going, man. Just keep going. You must live for those dreams, man. Just keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. And in football as well, there's many setbacks because sometimes, you know, some people don't make it. And you asked before, like, what do you say to those people that didn't make it? Is sometimes it's beyond your control. It's beyond your ability. Like you might be. I know plenty of world class, like players that could have been world class that haven't made it for other reasons. But I'm here. I can safely say there are players better than me that I've played with that haven't made it. And it's just other factors. There's politics. There's stuff just outside of your control. So, the way I see it, as long as I can focus on what I can control, I'm doing everything I can, and I'm whatever level I get to, wherever I get to, I'm happy. I'm happy with myself.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jose. Thank you for the question, Barry. Let's come to Owen.
Thanks, Nana. Jose, been great to listen to you so far. You've been giving some great advice to any listeners about, you know, important things to consider in trying to make it as a professional. I can totally hear what you're saying about, you know, some people don't make it because of factors outside their control. Like me, you know, I was one of those. I've got bad knees, the stereotypical bad knees. They fell apart. If my knees were good, I would have made it easy. You know, but no, I can hear that. What I'm interested to know is, you clearly are, as Coach Barry's just pointed out, you know, very headstrong, focused guy, which is great. You know, where do you realistically think you're going to? What do you think is going to be the peak of your football career? Where do you think you're going to be able to make it to?
Ooh. Well, if I don't aim for banging one top corner in the Champions League final, I mean, if I'm not aiming for that, I'm doing it wrong, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
But no, I can't tell you that, and it's exciting to not be able to tell you that because I don't know where I'll be in 5-6 years in football, and I to me that's exciting because I think it's part of the journey. You know, I'm here now. I'm a Kevin Jewish now. I'm in an apartment in Wrexham, and that's what I'm focusing on now. And because this is what I can control at the moment. I can control what's happening tomorrow. I'm gonna go drive to Blackpool and train with a coach I train with that does covers like football fitness and mainly around my base fitness and then my technical side of things as well. So that's what I can control now. That's what I'm focusing now. Tuesday we train, Wednesday we train, Thursday we rest, Friday we play Aberystwyth away. That's where I'll be. That's where I'll be this week. And that's what I can control now. But you know, everything else is just pushing myself to see how much I can develop and however further I can get. Because as long as I do everything I can control, I'm really happy with myself, and I won't be. Oh, welcome, Therese. I won't be upset with that. You know. Yeah,
that's good. I mean, you're in a good city to be in because of obviously what's going on with that other club in the Wrexham area. Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally around the corner from my house as well.
Yeah. Put yourself on their radar. They could be going serious places, couldn't they? Huh?
Yeah.
Thanks, Jose. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
I like the fact, Jose, you're sitting on the fence in terms of where you want to be. But I think Owen wanted to pin you on, yes, you can't control, you know, the future. You know, you are focusing on what you can control. But ideally, where would you want to be, say, in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years,
Say
along,
yes.
along an aim of mine has always been to hit the English Football League. It's been a dream of mine forever. I think it's just everything surrounding it is just a dream. You know, the passion from the fans. You know, the grounds. So I think it's always been my long-term goal, and that's where I'd love to be in the next 5 years, I think.
Thank you. Let's welcome the host with the most,
No,
football himself,
no, let's
the
no. You know,
worst centre back in English grassroots football.
you know,
Welcome to this.
I just want to thank Nana, Barry, like two Barrys, and also Owen for holding down the fort. Thank you so much. And again, Jose, thank you again for like coming on. And I've been listening in the background, and you kind of went into great insight in terms of what sacrifices you like made. And before I continue, Barry from Ultimate Football Network, I would love to get your question.
The only question I was going to ask you, Jose, was: do you think being a scout has helped you be a player?
Yeah, I definitely think so, and I'm really glad I've done that. Actually, I'm really glad I've had that experience. It gave me a bit of a different perspective on how people view football within professional football, how people look at players, how you know some of the factors which may split some players from other players, you know, and it was a really great experience for me to actually listen to experienced scouts and take that in as well, and the small details that they looked at, and how that actually, you know, the way the players acted and how that can make them think, you know, it was actually a really great experience. I'm really glad I did that. And just the education as a scout, I think, may make me look at my own games in different ways now. When I'm on the pitch, I feel like there's things I think about which maybe I wouldn't have a couple of years ago before I did that. Yeah. So I'm actually really glad I did that. And if any player actually gets the opportunity to do, you know, your scouting badges or even your coaching badges, I definitely recommend it. It just gives you a different perspective of things.
Yeah.
And you know, you may not react as a way when you're doing a session, for example. You might not react in a certain manner because you know what that person who's putting the session on might have been through. And I actually think it was a really valuable experience for me.
So, and you said you had I think when I first spoke to you, you didn't have an agent, did you? You eventually ended up getting one. How did you get your agent? Did they contact you out of the blue, or did you contact them?
There was a couple of agencies that contacted me while I was in Portugal, and what I was worried about was being just a lot of agencies seem to have 500 to 1,000 players in their books, and I was a bit worried about being that little blip, and football can be really fickle, as bad as it sounds. You know, when you're doing well, everyone loves you, and then an injury hits, and you're just a bit of the ugly duckling. So I was when I was approached by this agent that I'm currently with, he gave me kind of a personal connection. So before I actually signed with him, I even went down to see him and where he lives as well. I met his family as well. He's met my family. He's met obviously my girlfriend, who's a big part of my life as well. Yeah. So that personal connection for me is what did it, and I'm glad that's happened as well. It's opened obviously Kevin Druids for me as well. So yeah, he obviously came from Portugal, and yeah, I'm glad that's happened.
Cool, amazing stuff, and again, you've got a twinge of Scottish in you as well. You know, there's a bit of a twinge of a Scottish accent. I mean, could you literally explain that briefly in terms of the whole connection?
Scotland.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. It's just, in Portugal, I learned English from all sorts of backgrounds. There's Australians, Americans.
Exactly. Remember, I told you. You remember, Jose? Remember, I told you Tobias can ask stupid questions at times. So don't be surprised. If anything, I detect a bit of American accent instead.
Well, my brother and my sister are both in America, and they're both living in America. That's how we just put in my request for my green card not long ago as well. That's how I've qualified for that. Maybe I think it's just all these. It's just a big boiling pot of accents. Where I've learned so, and obviously I've moved to England so young, and I went straight to Liverpool. Obviously exposed to the Scouse accents straight away. There's just a lot of accents in my background.
Okay, let me just apologize. Let me apologize. I just had a twinge, but I mean, I think it's actually probably one more question before and then again, literally, I just want to say that Jose is going to be around for the Matt Lockwood interview or conversation. So this isn't going to be the last time that we're going to hear from Jose. But I mean, how has social media helped your career? If it has.
I think so. I definitely think so. From the network side of things, because I feel like networking is a really important, a really important part of football. There's all sorts of resources out there now that open doors that you would previously not be exposed to, and I feel like creating your presence in social media as well is really important. I mean, there's plenty of examples of professional players now that are getting contracts based on their marketability as well. So and that goes beyond just how many followers they have. It's just their charisma, their personalities, what they stand for as well. Because for me, it's what they stand for is the most important part. And I feel like obviously a lot of players, just based on obviously every professional player can kick a football, or else they wouldn't be professional players. What sets them apart is like the details. So whether it's like strong technical details, strong. So let's say strong attributes, and then there's the strong marketability, which I feel plays an important part in signing players nowadays as well. And it all comes from now it's from social media. Back in the days, it could have been just from their charisma and the way they were as people. And it's just social media is basically a channel for you to showcase all the you to showcase yourself, basically what you are, what you stand for, what you're about. And I make use of social media mainly for my professional side of things. So I think it's important. Yes.
Yeah, I love that, Jose. Honestly, thank you so much, and we will definitely be connecting again on this platform in about half an hour when literally Matt comes back on. But again, thank you so much, and we will literally connect with you real soon.
Thanks, Jose.
Thank you for having me.
See you Monday, Jose. Yeah, Monday.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be around.
Great stuff. Alrighty, so Jose is going to be in the background, and rather than going to advert, we're going to go straight into it. So this is the like vets segment, and let me start from what I've got. And again, apologies for squealing in the background. Let's go with the this is Division 2. Do you wanna go? Go on then. Go on. Go. There you go. Go on then. All right. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. So let's kind of go with the League Cup. Bow Street Runners 1, Sporting Santos 6. We're going into the league now. Catford Wanderers 2, Independent 1. London South Vets B 3, Seagas Vets. London South Vets B 4, Seagas 3, Norwood Lakers 0, Wallenham 3. So this is how the table looks right now. Independent first, Blackheath second, Crayford Wanderers third, Seagas fourth, Sporting Santos fifth, LSU B 6, Catford 7th, Wallenham 8th, Leonie Stars 9th, Bow Street 10th, and Norwood Lakers 11th. And then next week's fixtures, as we've got them right now: Independent versus Blackheath, Leonie Stars versus Wallenham A, London South B versus Sporting Santos. And again, these can change. Let's go straight into Division 1. New Park 6, Defiance 1, and Stansfield 0, London South A 4. And the league at this present moment is LSU A at first, Stansfield at second, New Park third, Charcoal fourth, Johnson and Phillips fifth, Glebe sixth, Column seventh, Metro Gas 8th, and Defiance 9th. And for next week's fixtures, we have Defiance versus Glebe, London South A versus Stansfield, and Metro Gas versus New Park. And again, these are subject to changes. Let me invite Paul, aka Black Clock, onto the show. And good evening, Paul.
Evening, everybody. Evening.
And actually,
how
Owen,
how are you?
Yeah. Actually, Owen, let's start with you. Did Her and Bay play yesterday? And would love to know the score.
We did, and our London Cup journey is over.
No,
really?
Yeah, we lost 1-0 to Sporting Kits.
Okay.
Who, to their credit, good team, really good team. 1-0. I can't remember the last time, if ever, I've played in a 1-0 Vets game. It signifies, shows it was a tight game, and good team. On the day, we pretty much nullified each other. It came down to the one goal. They had better moments in the game. We had better moments, but neither team was, ultimately the better team over the whole game, just in moments. So that's been me being magnanimous. I can now get out my list of excuses. So the 3G wasn't very good. The ref, the lights. No, jokes aside, it's gutting. Hate to lose, hate it. I sulk like a baby still, but we've done ourselves proud. It's a shame. We could have beaten them. If we'd had two of our players who were missing, strikers, we're pretty sure that would have been a big difference, but we didn't. So it doesn't matter. They had the players, and they're a good team. Can't take it away from them. They're a good team. So well done, Sporting Kits. Great to be involved. We're definitely going to get involved next year. It's given us a real feel for. Now we've got to this stage, we're realising the quality at the back end is obviously strong. In the beginning, I think we smashed somebody 10-0 the first game. We're like, But it's great to test ourselves. Shame it's ended, but we move on.
Cool. And then I'll be talking to Jamal regarding I'd say the quarter and the semi-final draw, looking to get the semi-finalists onto the show. So, but again, Sporting Kits. I must admit, I don't know nothing about them. But again, they must be a good team to have nullified your kind of
good team. Good teams started high tempo, and that actually put us on the back foot. Not teams don't do that to us. They were high tempo first half hour, and they probably had the better of it in that first half hour. And then we settled, and the game got settled. But the goal was scrappy, questionable. We're thinking of offside, but despite that, there was not really any other clear-cut chances for either team. It's very difficult to find anything out about them online. They've got no online presence at all. But good team.
Okay. And I will start with the away team with the Catford Independent game. Paul, would love to get your analysis of the game yesterday. Okay, and I can see Owen smiling, and he's just there at the edge of his seat. I can just see it.
Okay, listen up. It happened. It happened. I congratulate my friend Nana. I'm sure you was involved in your game plan. Obviously, knowing us, Yeah, it happened. I mean, it has been coming. I'm not going to make any excuses. It has been coming. Our performance levels have dipped. It's just lucky that we've got the points on the table, which sort of dulls the pain of losing. Unlike Owen, we hate losing, and you get a taste for it when you've gone 10-0. You get a taste for it, and of course, everybody steps up when you arrive at their ground, because you're the champions to be, and that's what happened yesterday. They upped their game. Players that hadn't played the first game when we beat them, and their game plan was on point. We'll give them that. Their game plan was on point. We just did not turn up yesterday. There were spells in the game where it looked like the light bulb had come on, but then it just went off again. I don't know what it was, but yeah, it just wasn't our day. Yeah, it just wasn't our day, and that's how it goes. But as I said, I woke up this morning and I thought, there was a lot of banter. There was this player, he looks like Tyrone Mings, their centre back. He was giving it, God almighty, he was like he had won the World Cup. So I woke up this morning and I actually looked on Sky Sports to see, had Catford won the World Cup? And to my astonishment, they hadn't. So I looked on the Division 2 website to see, had they jumped us and now in top position. And again, they're not. 7th place, 14 points. So I look up, and it takes a bit of time to look up. First place, 30 points. Now, that's a good return from my boys. That's a good return. So, congrats. Can't take it away from Catford. Congrats. But let's take it easy. We're going to be champions because I know my group of players are going to want to go on another run again. And they always say when you play after a defeat, you should be able to turn your performance around, and I'm expecting that. And it's another big game on Saturday against Blackheath, who are probably trying to win it. I mean, it's a great result for Catford for next season, get their confidence going. But next week is, I expect a different Independent to turn up next week, really and truly. I know Nana's chomping at the bits to say his thing as the victor. So I will pass the baton over. One thing I have to say, in victory, he was very honourable, and he could have done it the other way. He could have done it like his Tyrone Mings player, but he was very respectful, and because the obviously the relationship with us, and he sees the big picture. It's one win out of what have they played? Oh no, I've got to look down. They played 10. They've played 10 and they've won 4.
Oh boy!
And they've lost 4. And we've drawn 2. So Nana knew it's a good performance, and I heard him say it's building blocks, and I respect him for that, because he could have, but I respect him for that. He played well in goal, and I know he's a good goalkeeper. He played well in goal, pulled off some good saves, and again, we just never turned up. So I just tip my hat to them. Congrats, and we go again. Over to you, Nana.
See, Paul has a way of trying to be respectful but always has these little digs in there. Always. Up the Catford! Up the Catford! That's in there. Up that.
Yeah.
Fantastic game. And I know he's in pain, you know. I know he's in pain, but yeah, that's what it is. It was a very good day for us yesterday. We knew what to expect because they're on top of the league, you know, and they're on top of the league for a reason. So we knew that we needed to bring our A game and then some to get over the line, and that's exactly what we did. You know, winning the first balls, winning the second balls, everybody, you know, showed grit, showed character, and like I said before, a few months back, building blocks. This is a new team, new players, and I trust what the manager is trying to do. Because they're absolute ballers in that Catford side, you know. But there's a difference between a bunch of individual brilliance and a team coming together to absorb all that brilliance and show it on the pitch. And even for yesterday, we didn't actually play our slick, flowing football. We just dug in, did what needed to be done to win that game. I'm really, really happy for the boys because it was a big statement throughout the league. I mean, the game started, and I think within 5 minutes we had a corner and we were 1-0 up. We went, we had some very, very good spells in the first half. Nothing was getting through. I think the whole game I've made probably 2 saves, but it shows that we defended well. Everybody got behind the ball. Trying to cut the spaces because we knew that Independent, one of their biggest attributes is that ball behind the center backs and running with their pace running onto it. So we had to either snuffle that out or deal with it when it came through. So one of the things that the manager said was start high, which we did, so we could clean up some of the balls which were coming through, and we did that really, really well. We went in half-time 1-0. Second half, they were playing downhill, and they came out like a bat out of hell. They really wanted to get back on terms. They had a free kick, hats off to Dash, fantastic free kick, top bins inside. I don't think any keeper in the world is saving that. I don't care if they're David De Gea or Peter Schmeichel, but it was a really, really good free kick. But we kept playing, we kept trying to create chances. I think, even though it could have gone either way, we had the better of the chances. And then probably about almost the last kick of the game, maybe like 2 or 3 minutes to go, caught them on the counter, ball squared, shots, rebound, goal. It was just ecstatic, I'm really, really happy for the boys. I'm really happy for how they're coming together, and to the whole league. We're going to still do our things in the background. We're going to build and build and build. If you don't know, now you know. And we're going to keep doing it. I don't think we've seen the best of Catford yet. We are training. We are still building. And the aim is to get into Division 1. So whether it's this season or next season, it's going to happen, So commiserations to Independent. Yesterday wasn't their day. I'm sure we'll meet again, and it's going to be another good game.
Yeah. No. Thank you for that, Nan. And before I talk about how I saw it, I want to invite Asher from Sporting Santos onto the show. Asher, hi, how you doing, sir?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Doing very well, thanks. Yourself?
I can see there's a bit of a smirk on your face, but it's all right.
I don't think there looks like there is.
No, I can see it.
I mean, if you're referring to our result yesterday, then yeah.
So could you
You can't draw Asher out, man. Just too smooth. You can't draw him out, man. He's too smooth.
So Asher, would please talk to us about the Bow Street Runners game.
To be honest, completely honest, it was quite a dominant display by the team yesterday. We kind of just come out firing and just hungry to play football. Obviously, we had a long time off and we only played like 2 games in about 8 weeks. So everyone was just raring to go, and then it was just pretty, in your team, everything just seemed to be clicking, everything we wanted to do, closing down, pressing, etc., and everything just went well. And it was just one of those games. I think we went in 3-0 at half time, and then come out in the second half, and the game ended 6-1 to us, quarter-final as well. And I think it was just a good day for us because, Bow Street, when they're ready to, they could be really competitive and make things hard. Yesterday just wasn't one of those days for them. It was more a good day for us. Good performances all around. Good, strong team performance yesterday.
And now, looking at the league and literally knowing the results yesterday, that must give the Santos guys, that kind of lift. I'm guessing. I mean, what's the camp like right now?
I mean, it's good. It's healthy spirits, and at the end of the day, it's football. Like, you're not guaranteed to win every single game of football that you play, even if you play fantastically and the team nick it.
Thank you, Asher.
So it can happen. And we lost a couple of games earlier in the season, but there's still a lot of football to play, and there's a lot of good teams, and we know that on their day, anyone can beat anyone. But there's still a long way to go, to Breeze. Like, it's January. Like, it's the business end, but it's not the real business end yet. In a few months, you'll see who's really got the fire in their belly. I mean, great result by Catford yesterday, but at the same time, you have to still recognise what Independent have done. 10 games unbeaten. It's still an amazing run. So it's an excellent result, and I'm sure that Catford will be buzzing, and it's good for the league all around. But our focus is Saturday, LSU away, and that is our focus. We'll talk about tables and stuff at the end of the season.
Yeah, no, I love that. Actually, before probably even Coach Barry from Ultimate Sport Network, and also Owen probably want to ask any questions. I just want to try and briefly sum up in terms of what I saw. And again, yes, everyone knows that I kind of play for Independent, but also I've got a show, and I just want to say from the get-go, I literally invited Hollington onto the show. Like, the manager or one of the players asked me, and I gave him a link. So literally, I want to make that absolutely explicitly clear. And again, this is me. Sorry?
Why?
Because he asked. But again, we will kind of go into that later on. So literally, I want to try and be as on the fence as possible, looking into it as a kind of neutral. Independence started off slow. Catford cotton cold from a corner, and we were too busy looking around and actually trying to figure out who's Mike and who, rather than actually getting into position. Because again, any team that we play now, especially in the second half of the season, we're not going to be turning over teams 5, 6, 7s now. Like, every team will have a game plan. So we started off cold.
I wouldn't say that, actually.
Paul, let me finish. Within the first 2 or 3 minutes, it's kind of one of those things where their captain Tony, won 2 or 3 of his challenges, and Tony is the person in like Catford that actually galvanizes the team. Like if literally he's on point, the whole team is on point. And in the first half, we were just playing to his strengths. And it was very, very frustrating watching from the sideline. And yes, Nana played well in goal, but I don't think he had anything to do in the first half, to be absolutely honest. And at halftime, like the team talks, but we just had to know that every single game that we're going to go into now, I don't want to use like the cliche, but it is a cup final to like a lot of teams. Well, not a cup final, but they're just going to raise their games anyway. So second half starts, and like we start off well, and Dash scores an amazing free kick. I mean, there's no keeper that I know that could have saved it. It was absolutely class. And we were literally on the ascendancy, and Catford were on the ropes 100%. And literally, this is where I've got to really, this is gonna literally where I'm gonna play as a neutral. So with about 5 minutes to go, and this comes down to game management. This comes down to game management now. As like looking in, Independent didn't have to go for the win. 1-1, we're not gonna lose the game away from home against a decent Catford team. 1-1 would have been a good result. We went searching, we went searching for the goal, and we got caught out. I'm not going to mention about what the referee saw or didn't see, but hey, we had chances, but it is what it is. At that time, with 2 minutes to go, why were Independent trying to go for the win rather than actually consolidating and actually saying, you know what, cool, we will take the point and then we'll go home?
Can I answer that?
Let me finish first. So they go and score with 2 minutes to go. Cool. And they go and win the game. In terms of Catford, yes, they had the right to come onto the pitch exactly how we came onto the pitch when Dash scored his free kick. And literally when they won, I was filming. And a few of them came up to me and shouting, in my face, cool, it is what it is. Do I think Independent could have taken it a little bit better, in terms of shaking the
we did.
Like the kind of I saw a few things different. But again, it's just something that I saw. But I just want to say something. I just want to say something again. So with Tony that went up to Temps and was right in his face, I saw that. When Johnny came right up to the camera and was screaming and hollering, which is cool, I saw that. When Nana was screaming and hollering as well in goal.
Football man.
No, but hold on, wait. I just want to kind of make things clear. I saw that. And I want to make the things again clear. All of those images, especially yesterday, were running rent-free in my head. Every single one of those images or like things that I saw were running rent-free in my head because I don't like losing. Independent do not like losing. And again, I want to make things categorically clear. In the changing room, a couple I don't know, but we heard the name Charcoal come from Catford changing room. I'm saying it.
What the hell?
No, hold on, wait. I am saying it because there's no elephant in the room right now. There's no elephant in the room. So wait. So wait. Again, I've got the biggest respect for Ainsley. I've got the biggest respect for Rob as well. And of course, exactly where Ainsley took Catford from literally almost when they were struggling to literally where they are now. But everything that we saw and I saw, that's just gonna fire us up for the rest of the season. All of the cheering, which is cool, which is absolutely fine, 100%. Catford deserved to win. But believe you me, Independent are gonna be coming back strong. We're gonna use this, like the energy that we saw, and literally trust me, we're gonna go on another unbeaten run. Trust me when I say that, because
I
that
answer?
hurts me.
Yeah,
That, literally, that kind of hurts me. I'm a winner.
Hmm.
And literally, when I see that, when I see the opposition cheering, when I, and literally everything else, trust me, it burns. It
Can I answer?
absolutely.
Can I answer?
So again, I just want to make things categorically clear. Catford, from yesterday until now, yeah, you've been running rent free in my head. No more. Trust me, no more. Independent are gonna come back stronger, and trust me, we're gonna win. We are gonna win. We are gonna win the league. 100%.
Can I answer?
This one,
Paul, go on.
pain. I'm the Catford. Get in.
No. Put your mic up.
That.
Put your mic up. With the handshake stuff, I don't see what you saw, because we shook hands and congratulated, people that who wanted their hand shook. So
Not everybody. Not everybody was shaking hands, and at the end of the day, it's football, so that is nonsense. Like, people didn't want to shake hands, but
I went across and shook assistant manager's hand and player's hand. So I wasn't looking around for other players.
Yeah, but this is what Luis is saying, and what I saw as well, some people didn't want to shake hands, which is stupid, because at the end of the day, it's just football.
Let's not make a big deal, because one of your guys in the clubhouse was going on a bit too far. So let's not make it a big deal. You won the game. You deserve to win the game. And Nana, you know who I'm talking about. So let's not. You won the game. You deserve to win the game. Not a problem with that. Not a problem with that. I woke up this morning. We're still at the top. We've still got 30 points. I don't see a problem.
But this is it. This is it. Either you are congratulating and staying humble, or you are throwing shots, because you can't throw shots from the beginning of the season, turn the league table upside down. You see, or call it banter. So when it comes back to you, don't act like you don't know what's going on. It is what it is.
But Nana, did I just say I accepted the banter? It was fun because you've won the game. Did I just say that?
Yeah, but I'm saying that either you say well done and leave it, but when you start throwing little dicks and shots in there, don't expect like when it comes back to you.
I'm throwing shots because that result doesn't make any difference to us.
It don't matter. We have changed your 0 to 1.
It makes a big deal to you guys.
Yes, we have changed your 0 to 1. Just deal with it. Just deal with it. Let's move on.
No.
We have changed the 0 to 1. Let's deal with it. Let's move on.
Is that your season? Is that your season then?
I don't care. I don't care. Is that because a lot of talk? Is there a lot of talk from the beginning? Is
that your season?
Disrespect, a lot of laughter, and all those things.
You know what?
Let's just deal with it.
You know what?
You know what you sound like? You sound like Arsenal. You just want to get top 4, Champions League. That's all you care about.
This one sweets me well.
I think I think, and again, it's kind of good to get
congrats. You played well. Johnny played well. You got a good game plan. You played well. You beat us fair and square over 90 minutes.
You know what?
That's what happened.
That's what I like to hear. Well done, Klopp.
I said that at the beginning of the program.
And you know what? Exactly what Asher said at the start is like, it's kind of good for the league that the league is competitive. Everyone wants a competitive league. No one really wants to turn up to a game and beat a team 6 or 7. Like, this for me is probably the most competitive league, or literally for like me, a league that can go either way. Because again,
we've got a lot of good teams in there.
100%. And and again, mathematically, no one's won anything. So now, and this is exactly what I said in the clubhouse as well. I'm now expecting Catford, or I'll be looking at Catford's results. Will those same players turn up next week? Will those same players turn up away when it's cold and rainy? Will you have?
You sound like it's professional football, man.
No, listen.
They turn off when it's cold.
No. But like, you know what, Paul? How they celebrated yesterday, it burnt me. No, exactly.
To celebrate.
No, but Paul, listen to what I'm saying. Yeah, and again, I think everyone on this panel has literally experienced that. When the opposition cheer and literally win a game like that, it hurts because we've all been on the receiving end, and like on on kind of both sticks. But again, believe you me, yeah, everything that Catford did yesterday, for me personally, I can't talk for the team. I can't talk for the team. I can only say personally, I'm not gonna forget. Trust me.
You've taken it to heart. I mean,
100%.
I hate
You know what?
losing, but I haven't taken it to heart, to be honest. You know what I mean? We lost the game. In my personal opinion, it was coming because the performance levels have dropped. But to be honest, talking to their assistant manager, he did say, you know, you're a manager, you see things differently than players that are in the battle. And I had to take that and I said, you know what? He's right there. I'm looking at it completely different than players. Yes, we've lost the game. And yes, we would have loved to have gone 11-11. It didn't happen. But you know what? That might reignite the hunger that has been missing the last 2 games I've seen.
Yeah, 100%.
And we've got the points on the table, which is the most important thing. Santos have got games in hand. That is great, but they have to win those games. They have to win those games. We've got the points on the table. Now, the challenge is to my players, go on another run. Get the hunger back, go on another run. That's the challenge. Simple.
To the 2 Barrys and also to Owen, if you've got any questions to
like I said, I spoke Nana when I got the result. I texted you, didn't I?
Barry, always respectful.
Yeah.
Much
and
respect.
I said respect is due. And Nana, I'd like to say thank you. I think you've given independent vets a wake-up call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You've definitely given them that. It's not over. The complacency ends here. You might have won 10 or whatever games, but it's not over. Sporting. Oh, good evening, Asher. Sporting are coming. Look at Asher's face. Sporting are coming. They love that result. Catford got points in the thing. So it's down to let's see how good Klopp is. Let's see how good Raymond is. Let's see how good Lockwood is.
There's a lot of football left to play. There's a lot of football left to play.
I mean now. I mean getting the team back.
Oh, the guys are hungry.
And getting them back. Let's get back where we should be.
Of course.
But
of course.
I don't see the problem with Catford celebrating. I don't see no problem. We beat
problem with that.
We beat Catford, didn't we? And what do you talk off? You celebrate as well. So let's give respect when respect is due. We'll give respect is due.
I don't see no problem with that at all.
I don't see any problem with that.
And I hate losing. I don't see no problem with that.
None of us like to lose. We lost the game. Let's take it. We got a wake-up call. Catford done a job on us, it seems like. With Nana saying that he had 2 shots to save, I find that quite concerning.
Well, no,
only 2 shots to save.
You see, it's always dangerous when you're playing a team who's got a former player of yours who knows you, who knows your DNA. And Nana, you know, obviously, no disrespect, he plays for Catford now, but outside of football, Nana is my friend. And I would cut him and he would bleed. There would be independent blood coming out. Okay? So it's dangerous to play a team like that.
That blood is long gone, mate.
It's playing, whatever, Nana.
It's long gone.
It's dangerous to play a team like that because, of course, he knows that, you know what, they do things like that and they do things like that. So it's hard. It's hard to you know. So you know what, it's done.
Paul, don't make no excuses for the players.
I'm not making excuses. Saturday,
none.
Play Blackleaf, another big game.
Well done, Nana. Nana said what he's going to do, and he done.
Up the Catford.
Well done, Nana. Well done.
We've got to. It's our time now to come back. When you're at the top, everybody's going to be coming from you. You know that already. We know that. We've got to adapt.
It's hard to look down. Can't see them when I'm looking down from the tower. Can't see them when
you see what I'm saying?
Sounds
like it's so full of shit. This one.
let me clean up my glasses. See if I can see.
We're coming, and all the teams are. Listen, it's a game of football, and even the bottom teams, on their day, they can beat anyone.
I heard Nana.
A lot of teams, even in the middle. It's very easy to put a run of games together where you're winning. Catford, as it stands right now, if when we meet, we haven't played Blackheath. We are yet to play Santos. You know, so if and when we win these games, we're right back in it. We just need to maintain.
If and when, you know.
Sorry?
Push it out his chest.
Wow.
The confidence is good. It's good to have confidence.
Of course, we're confident. It's hard work. We grafting. I said 3 months ago that you can laugh all you want, but we are doing our work behind the scenes.
It's not easy.
And we're working really hard. So anybody in the league, any team in the league, when we meet you, prepare for a game. It's as simple as it is.
Is it true that you sent dossiers to every team in the second division who we haven't played yet? How to beat us?
Nonsense. You think I don't give a rat's ass about what independent do.
That's what I heard.
We will do what we do,
DHL
and then we'll get there.
Outside your house, going in, sending dossiers to teams. This is how you beat Ellis. This is how you beat Independent. Hey,
who have you got on Saturday, Nana?
Well, we haven't got a game. So we have a rest. But congratulations on your backwards. Say again?
Breaks ain't for everyone.
Oh, it's for us. We're fine. I'm sure the management will arrange a game, and we're gonna play. We haven't got anyone.
When do you play the Masher?
I think we'll be playing you soon.
We got to play them 3 times, twice in the league and once in the cup.
Yeah.
That'll
be fine now, isn't it?
That'll be a good game, man. That'll be a good games.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah. Not quite sure. I think the semi-finals in I want to say April.
The league. Yeah, the League Cup.
Yeah, I think that's in April. So we've got fixtures up until 5th of March, and we're not playing you in that. So I imagine sometime after that we'll play them. Yeah, we got LSU on Saturday.
At their ground.
Yeah, at their ground.
3G.
Yeah,
they're a force.
I probably can watch that.
They're a
if I'm not
force.
refereeing.
They're a force on the 3G, boy. I tell you.
I don't know.
Yeah,
no
man.
shade to them, but I did watch the game. I did watch your game against them, and I wasn't too impressed. No shade, though, but just on what I saw on the day.
Don't look at that. We're top of the league. It's Nana. Yeah. We're top of the league, so don't look at that. I'm saying that they're a force on 3G. LSU.
Just like Henry,
you know what I mean? I'm saying that, and I know I played Santos. We played Santos, and you're a very, very good side. I'm just saying. They're a force on 3G. They really are. And that game on Saturday, they've done us a favor as well. So they've taken another one out of the mix. Seagas taking them out of the mix. So yeah.
Yeah. We did play them. We played them last week. Seagas, at their ground. 3-1 victory. But in saying that, they was very good. They was very good.
There's a lot of good teams there. I mean, as I said at the very beginning of the season, we're usually in a position where we're chasing after Christmas, and we have to put that run on. And that with that comes extra pressure. Every week, you got to win. Sort of like in the same position as you guys are. Games in hand. Every week, you got to win. It's really nice to be in the position that we're in at the moment, where you've got the points on the table. And now you just got to go again now. You know, you've got the loss, get it out your system. Have a training session on this week, get it out your system, get back on the green grass and do what you do best. Simple as that. You know what I mean? Simple as that. But, you know what I mean? The celebrating and all that, I don't worry with that. They deserve it. They deserve their beer in the clubhouse. They beat the league leaders. Of course, it's going to be a big scalp. Congrats.
I think it's kind of bittersweet for Nana and Catford, because beginning of the season, I think there was a lot of shade getting thrown their way. So it's probably why Tabrice is saying about some of the celebrations. That's probably the reason why it's fuel. It's just hunger.
Actually, I could have gone into their faces and screamed and shouted, but I was in my goal, screaming my goal, and then I went and shook everybody's hands. Like, at the end of the day, it's football. And for me, on the personal level, for obvious reasons, I really wanted us to win this game.
Yes.
And I'm glad we did. So
yeah,
I'm always an person there.
It's just shake a hand, you have a drink, you have a laugh, you can't take that as seriously, because on a Monday it shouldn't define your life. It's just football on a Saturday. It doesn't define your life and your family business. If it does with some people, then that's down to them. It doesn't define me. It's just football. But we look forward to Santos. Well, we're not playing Catford again. But yeah, it's on now. As Barry said, it's on. We'll see.
It is on. It is on.
All you need to do, Tabrice, is get fit, because you know what I mean, you're talking big about people celebrating, but you're not on the. You're not.
No. You know what, Paul? I don't think you understand. Like, I have no issues about people celebrating. Like, that's, for me personally, that just adds fuel to me. Like, people get their fixes from different things. People can get a fix from I don't know what it is, but I get my fuel when I see my team.
Yeah, thank God he's frozen. I don't know what he's on about.
No,
Congrats,
which is
Nana. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nana, congrats. But anyway, you know what? We are running about 15 minutes late. I've got the ex-pro Matt Lockwood in the green room. I'm just going to add him to the conversation. And again, guys, thank you so much.
Owen, Barry, Asher, Nana,
All right.
good week, everybody.
Yeah, have a good
Thanks, guys.
evening.
I'm out as well.
Yeah, take care.
Enjoy the evening.
See you
All
guys.
right.
Cheers. All righty. So I just want to add Matt, can you?
Why? Is your missus cutting off your internet time?
Me? What are you talking about?
You just keep freezing. I thought you're being put in the bad boy corner.
Matt, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear everyone. Yep.
Great stuff. Matt, I just want to apologize. I want to apologize that we're running 50 minutes late. It's been one of those shows, but thank you so much for that coming on. And again, and literally anyone out there, please like and subscribe to the Amateur Football channel. And yeah, I can welcome Jose back. But Matt Lockwood, this is all about you. Could you please tell the viewers out there your footballing career, thus far?
Thus far, it's ended.
Well, I mean, like it's ended, but hey, your kind of football journey.
Yeah, unless you want to me to tell you about the vets football I play with the dads at school, then I'm sure your listeners will be buzzing to hear that we came third from bottom in the second division in Edinburgh. But no, so my career was, I don't know, you'd probably class me as a bit of a journeyman footballer. I mean, I played sort of lower league football my whole career, played 650 odd games. I played for teams including Bristol Rovers, Leyton Orient, Nottingham Forest, Colchester United, and then I finished up in Scotland, up at Dundee. Had a great time. I think I probably, if I look back on my career, I would say I didn't actually fulfil my potential. I would say I was maybe better than sort of the level I played at. Maybe didn't get the opportunities to sort of like move up the levels when I was sort of my early 20s. When I was at Orient, I was, I'd signed a long-term contract and was under contract when clubs were coming in for me. So, Orient didn't want to sell me at the time. And then a few injuries sort of scuppered any moves that I was hoping to get. And, so I ended up staying at Orient for 9 years before I got a move to Forest. And, ended up finishing off at Dundee when I retired when I was sort of just turning 39. So, it was all good.
Okay. And you're a centre back by trade.
Left back.
Okay.
Seriously, mate. Do you not do your research?
Clearly not, does he?
Bloody hell.
Again, but to be fair, if it had turned around and gone, "You're not a left back," I'd have held my hands up and said, "No, probably not." I definitely stole a living playing there for 20 years. But I played centre half a couple of times, but it was only on desperate times would call for me to go at centre half.
Okay, cool. So let's start with Barry from the Ultimate Sports Network. Would love to get your question to Matt.
Hello, Matt. Good evening. One of the questions I want to ask you, as you've played under so many managers, who was the best manager you played under, do you think?
So, good question. I mean, there was a few. I would say, I mean, Ian Holloway was probably one of my favourite managers to sort of play for. I wouldn't necessarily say he was the best manager or the best coach, but we all know what Ian Holloway's like. We all know how infectious his personality is. And he was the guy that gave me my first opportunity to play first team football. And it's funny, actually, when people say, oh, who's the biggest influence in your career? Ian Holloway is definitely the biggest influence in my career, because when I was at QPR as a first year pro, and Ray Wilkins gave me my first pro contract. And, I will be forever grateful to him for obviously seeing something in me to give me that chance. But while I was at QPR, I was just in the reserves, and we used to obviously train with the first team. And Ian Holloway saw me playing a practice match. So I always used to be a centre midfielder. I thought I was, sort of an attacking midfielder. I'd get forward, try and score goals. But we had a practice match one day, and the left back was injured. And Ray just said to me, "Oh, Matt, you go and play left back for the reserves," which I obviously did, as I was told. And that day I was up against Trevor Sinclair. And this was back in the day when Trevor was getting in the England squad and he was flying. He was, he was, when he scored the overhead kick for QPR.
Yeah.
He was on fire. Anyway, the day we played this practice match, Trevor had like man flu, didn't feel very well, didn't really want to train, did because he obviously wanted to play on the Saturday. And for whatever reason, everything he did in the game, I just managed to tackle him. He didn't get by me once. And to be fair, he must have had coronavirus before we all knew it was coronavirus. He must have been severely ill not to be able to get past me. But anyway, so after the game, Ian Holloway just basically, as we were walking off the pitch, Ollie came up to me and he was like, "Have you ever played left back before?" And I was like, "No, that's the first time." And that's all he said, right? And then it was, 6 months later, it got announced that he was leaving QPR and he got the Bristol Rovers player manager's job. He took me with him and he said, "Look, I'm signing you," but he said, "I'm signing you as a left back." He said, "I don't think you're a midfielder." He said, "I think you're a left back." And I was like, no, I want to play midfield. And I used to, don't get me wrong, I played left back for Bristol Rovers. Like I played, 70 odd games for them, and I did okay down there. But I always wanted to play centre midfield, and he always said to me, "No, Matt, you're a left back." And I suppose 20 years later, I played 600 odd games at left back. I think he knew what he was talking about. So he definitely had the biggest influence in my career. Probably coach wise, I would say that Adi Boothroyd was probably one of the best coaches that I worked under, and you can see why he's gone on and coached for England. I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't agree with his tactics necessarily when I played under him at Colchester. And his tactics were very route one and sort of going like long ball stuff. And I didn't like the way he played, but the way he coached and his man management was excellent. I really enjoyed sort of seeing him in action. And like I said, that's why you can see that he's gone on and sort of done the England thing.
Cool. Yeah, cheers.
There he goes again.
He's frozen.
Frozen? Oh, he's asleep.
Jose, I would love to get your question.
Yeah, so hi, first of all. It was obviously you've reached a very high level, something I aspire to get to one day. So the one question that I think for me, you briefly mentioned that you lack the opportunities to go to higher levels. So I want to know what kind of professional footballer that's already at a level to take that next step. What can he proactively do to continue progressing within football?
I mean, for me, it was just you've got one opportunity to make it as in the world of football, and it's such a short career. Time just flies by. You literally blink, and your career's done. It's over. I think what you need to do is just treat every day give it the most respect possible. Get to training early, work hard, get in the gym, be as strong and physically fit as you can possibly be. And then after training, stay behind, work on your technique, whether you want to practice free kicks or whatever it is you need to do in your career to improve. Whether you're a striker, you need to practice your finishing. Whether you're a centre half and you want to practice your heading, or a fullback and you want to practice your 1v1 defending, stopping crosses, or whatever it needs to be, just spend time on that training ground. Don't take it for granted. Don't think you've made it. Because, not being funny, we see the best players in the world, and we all hear how Ronaldo just spends hours and hours and hours out on that training ground because he wants to be the best. That drive and determination to be as good as he can possibly be. And don't get me wrong, I was never, in my career, I was never going to get anywhere near his level because physically I didn't have the attributes to be at that level. But you can definitely be the best you can be. And I hate it when I see lads that don't fulfill their potential. I mean, I think for me, I didn't fulfill my potential, but it wasn't through a lack of hard work and a lack of graft. It was through possibly actually doing too well at Leyton Orient, and then being sort of like one of the best players there and a fan's favourite, and the chairman really loved me. He didn't actually want to sell me. He wanted top money for me because I was sort of like one of the best players. He thought, well, if we're going to lose Matt, I want to get the most money I possibly can for him. So I was probably a little bit of a victim of my own success. Because they wanted to get £1 million for me, and bearing in mind that was probably 25 years ago when I was 20, 21. It was never really going to happen for a League Two left back. But I would just say for any players out there, please don't get to an age where you look back and you regret not giving it the best opportunity you possibly can, because ultimately, no one's going to try for you. No one's going to make you get up that half an hour early and get into training early to do that extra work. You've got to do it off your own back. And if you don't, other people will, and they'll overtake you and they'll get in the team.
Coach Barry would love to get your question or comment, please.
Oh, good evening, Matt.
Evening, you right?
Yeah, I'm good. I know Ian Holloway quite well myself. Was Halsey with you at Bristol Rovers at the same time?
Yeah, so Ollie signed me. So when Ollie left QPR and went to Bristol Rovers, was that the question? Did you say about Ollie?
Barry Hales there as well.
Barry Hales, no. So I played with Barry at Bristol Rovers. Yeah. So I went. So Ollie signed me in, when was that? 96, and I think Barry then came in 97. What a great player. Barry was, I love playing with him because he used to make like a bad pass into a good pass. Yeah. It was one of those, you'd shank it into him and he would get hold of it, get the centre half, and he would drag him around and just bulldoze his way through.
Matt, that's not my question, Matt.
What was the question?
My question is this now. My question is, I've got a few young players at clubs and stuff like that. Yeah. How do you professional footballers deal with women coming at you? What's the advice you give? Because we got a lot of footballers and they never want to talk about this. But how do you deal with all the women throwing themselves at you, young players? Because a lot of young players don't know how to deal with that, and they find themselves getting into trouble. How did you guys deal with it? How do you deal with that?
Well, to be fair, with a face like this, you didn't have many girls chucking stuff. It wasn't really a problem. So I was fine. But no, I mean, obviously,
you go out. You know what it's like when you go out.
Yeah, no, of course, but it's difficult because you're young lads. You're earning decent money. You're playing football for the local team or whatever. So you do get the girls coming up to you. And I mean, we live in Edinburgh now. My wife, when she goes and speaks to gets her hair done and speaks to the hairdressers and stuff, these girls are going out and going to the places these footballers are going to because that's what they want, that trophy boyfriend and stuff. And it's at the end of the day, we're all human. If you get a good-looking girl coming up to you, and it's difficult to turn it down. But I think, again, I suppose it comes back down to what I was saying about how much do you want to make it as a footballer. And
the discipline.
Of course it is. Of course it's discipline, and it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying you've got to live like a monk either, because ultimately you need to go out and let your hair down and stuff. But
I'm sure you didn't live like a monk. I'm sure you didn't.
No, of course we had fun, and rightly so. But I think you just do it at the right times. I remember when I was at Bristol Rovers, I actually used to live with Ian Holloway. He had this big sort of rectory house, and we lived in the granny annex on the side. And there were three of us that he bought from London, from QPR to Bristol Rovers, and so we lived in there. And he always used to say to us, "Look, don't think you can't go out and enjoy yourselves." He said, just make sure you do it at the right times. So if we play a match on a Saturday, go out Saturday night, go out and have fun and enjoy yourself. He said, don't worry that you're getting in at 2-3 in the morning or whatever. He said, obviously, if we've got a game on Thursday, I don't want you going out on a Thursday or Friday, but that's just common sense anyway. So it's just tough for young lads. The urge will always be there, and like I say, they for me. I was always the boring professional one. I would much rather stay in to make sure I was right for training or the game than going out and drinking. I mean, I don't drink. I never have. And so I suppose I was always very, very dedicated to my my profession.
Don't worry, Matt. I'll ask Barry about you.
Yeah, no, he'll say the same. Lockie was boring as hell.
And Jose, look, Jose smiling. Jose, be careful. Be careful.
I completely identify with everything he just said there, which was really good, actually.
But Jose, you're young and good looking, so you'll get all the girls throwing themselves at you. So
he's got a girlfriend,
very happy relationships and helping for a while now.
You're in trouble now.
Let's move on swiftly. Nana would love to get your question for Matt.
Thanks for joining us, Matt. You say you may have not reached the level that you would have liked, but it looks like you've had a very illustrious career. A lot of footballers won't get to where even a glimpse of where you have gotten to, and like Jose, who's just had a university degree, so has something to rely on if football doesn't work out for him. What would you say to these young and upcoming footballers who are focused solely on football? What would you say? Would you tell them to have a plan B or just put everything into football? If it doesn't work for them, what's the advice that you give to them?
100% have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. Do not rely on football. I mean, like I said, I played for 22 years and I had a fantastic time. And even then, I still, you have to put things in place and invest and, study and develop yourself. Because when you retire from football, whatever age it is, whether you're lucky enough to play as long as I did, or, you might not make the grade and you have to drop out in your 20s, to get a job, a real job in the real world, as I call it, it's tough. It's really hard. I mean, even now for myself, some of the jobs that you've gone into after football, you're getting them because of who you are and who you maybe have in your, the connections in your phone book more than what qualifications you've got. Because I left school at 16, and don't get me wrong, I was fairly good at school, and I enjoyed it. And my teachers were desperate for me not to go into football. They wanted me to go and do my A levels and then go and do a degree. Obviously I wanted to go and play football. It was a no-brainer for me. But you see these lads, and when they come to the end of their careers, they don't know what to do. And I remember sitting there when the PFA used to come in and speak to us and say, look, study, go and do this, go and do that. And you think, I'm only 24, I'm only 25, I'll be fine. And then soon you're 30, and then you're 35, and then you're like, whoa, hang on, now the time has just flown by. I've not got anything to fall back on now. So I would urge any footballer, whether you're 16, 26, whatever age, please do something. Whether it is, go and invest in property, go and in the afternoons, instead of spending time just chilling out, laying on the sofa, playing your Xbox or FIFA or whatever the boys do now. I mean, I spent all my time on the golf course and I regret it so much. I wish I'd been buying houses and renovating them and, doing stuff like that, or studying and learning a degree or a trade and being an electrician or a plumber or whatever it is, you have so much spare time as a footballer. And I think because you obviously you've got money and stuff like that, you just think, it's all right, I'll be okay. But I would urge any player to really, really think about the future, constantly think about it, because someone said to me once that you're a long time retired, and that was the best bit of advice I ever had. Because I said I retired sort of 6-7 years ago, and it's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, I'm grafted to get what I'm doing at the moment, and I'm still grafting, and I'm not going to stop until I sort of like am what I class as successful off the pitch. But that would be my advice to players. Really, really sort of study while you can and prepare early.
I love that. Back to you, Barry.
I was just going to ask you, Matt, about your how'd you get your good gig with Puma? So,
again, I mean, it was one of those where I think I technically got it because I was the best of a bad bunch. My boss said to me, he said, look, we were looking for someone who'd worked in the industry before that had experience. And my thing is, how can I get experience when I've played football my whole life? Whether you go for a job in insurance or a bank or as an electrician or a plumber or whatever, if you've played football for 20 years, you've got no experience. How do you get experience? Get given a job. And I said to my boss who employed me, I just said, look, give me the job. Within 3 months, 6 months, I'm going to have exactly the same experience as all these guys that have been doing it for their whole lives. But what I've got is the contacts to get in the football clubs. I can ring up chief execs. I've got these guys' numbers. They're friends of mine. I can ring them up and say, look, I now work for Puma. I work in the teamwear department. I want you to start wearing Puma kit for your club. And that's how I've got into clubs. I mean, I'm based in Scotland, and my job is to get Scottish clubs, whether it's pro clubs or grassroots teams, into Puma. And the ones that you get in are the ones that you've got the relationships with, that the guys will pick up the phone and be like, oh, hi, Matt. Yeah, definitely come in. Let's have a chat. And I think I had to, I really had to sort of like graft to get this job. But now I've been there 3 years, and it's fine. I've got that experience now, so it's not a problem. And the doors that I can open up for people, whether it's up in Scotland, where obviously I'm based, and that's where my job is, but even down south, even around sort of like the Essex London area where I sort of grew up and played, the amount of doors I've opened for other boys in the department to go and then win contracts at clubs. It's just, that's just how it works. It's for me, it's about networking, and it's good. Puma's a great company. At the end of the day, it's the third biggest sports brand in the world, and I didn't realize how big Puma were until I started working for them. It's unbelievable, the numbers that they turn over in a year, from footwear to boots, trainers, boots, clothes. It's incredible how big it is, and I'm sort of lucky to be working there.
Cool.
He's gone again.
He's
in the naughty corner.
Is it really? Jose, you all that question.
Sorry?
Tobias, you do realize you keep freezing, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm freezing or not.
The annoying thing is your face looks really stupid when it's stuck. So if you can, there you go again.
Goodness.
I think you wanted me to ask a question, though, isn't it? Yeah. Should we just carry on?
Let's go.
Yeah. So another question. I'll go for obviously in football, there's a lot of external factors, and we went over it before, which a lot of players don't make it for other reasons beyond their levels of ability. So I like to call it the football politics. I'm sure a lot of people do. How do you deal with the football politics? So that's anything just off the pitch, whether it be personal situations in the environments that you're in, external situations out of your control related to maybe like contractual factors, which obviously happens to a lot of professional footballers around the world. What's your view on that side of the game?
I mean, it's not a nice side of the game. It isn't. And I mean, you need thick skin to be a footballer or be involved in football, not even just being a footballer, just to be involved in football at whatever level and whatever job you do in that club. You do need to have thick skin because it is a ruthless business. I mean, we see all these managers that get sacked if they lose 3 or 4 games on the trot. You think, oh, how bad is that? I mean, an example I would look at is Dean Smith. You know, good friend of mine. I played with Dean Smith at Orient for a number of years. You know, personal friend. He goes and does fantastically well at Aston Villa. He gets them promoted into the Premier League, keeps them up in the Premier League, even though they probably should have been relegated with the players they had. He's taken them, you know, from there to there, and then he loses 5 games on the trot, and then he gets sacked. And you think, really, is that fair? But again, that is just football because there's so much money in the game now. People make snap decisions, and that's at the top level. And let's be honest, Villa bought in Steven Gerrard, and he's doing a great job at the moment. He's bringing in some fantastic players. So I suppose you look at it and think, did Aston Villa make the right decision? At the time, I'd say no, I thought it was scandalous. But now you sort of think, well, actually, he's attracted some really good players, and they're playing well and you know, picking up points. So Villa probably were maybe, Villa, I suppose they've been, they've probably been proved correct to do what they did. But it was great to see Dean goes and walks straight into a job at Norwich. But, I think some of the stories that I could tell you of what happened to me while I was playing, you wouldn't believe it. Like, honestly, you just would not believe some of the things that did happen. And to go through that and to be strong enough mentally and to cope with it and to still step on that pitch to go and perform as well as you could. It is tough. It is tough. And you can see boys cracking under the pressure and cracking under the treatment that they get and the bullying that goes on and stuff like that. It's a tough environment. It is, and it's not easy. I mean, I don't know. I haven't got boys. I've got 2 girls. So I don't know if I had a son whether I'd want him to go in the football industry. Obviously, if he was great and he was going to earn 200-300 grand a week, I'd probably encourage him and see if he'd buy me a house and a car and stuff. But it is such a it's tough. It's a tough industry, and for anyone that can stay in the game for a long time, they're physically strong and can handle things. And I think for me, stuff happened. It was a bit like water off the duck's back. I'd always try and prove them wrong or whatever. But it's. I think the industry, and I don't know. I've not worked in many others, but I definitely think it's unique in how ruthless it is and how tough and how horribly people get treated. And I'm sure this happens in the financial industry and stuff like that. But obviously, I can only speak from experience. And some of the things that I've seen weren't nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I completely understand what you mean. I mean, I'm only 23. It's been an interesting some of the things I've already seen, but I can't even imagine like throughout your career the stuff you've come across.
Yeah, but I wouldn't change it. It's molded me and it's made me a stronger person now, so I can handle, adversity. And if things knock you back, I'm like, right, okay, that hurt, but I'm gonna move forward. I'm gonna prove them wrong. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna do what's needed to get through this pit. So it's what's the saying? Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
Have you finished? Fabrice, can I ask a question?
You might as well ask because my internet's just playing up. Matt,
what was your relationships like with agents? Because I hear so much complaints about agents and really hear great things about them. What was in your time? What was your relationship with them? What was it like?
So I never really had an agent, to be fair.
Was there a reason for that, Matt?
I probably never met anyone that I really sort of, I would say trusted isn't the right word, but that I never really clicked with, maybe. And to be fair, when I was at Orient, I didn't feel I needed one because you know, an agent would go in and negotiate your contracts. I knew that I would get the best deal I possibly could just with Barry Hearn, because I got on really well with Barry, and he was always pretty honest with me. And let's be honest, I don't know if any of you guys know Barry Hearn, but he's not going to give an agent any more money than he would give me. In fact, he'd probably just prove a point to the agent that the agent was rubbish and give me less. You know, so I didn't feel that I needed an agent for that. There were times, you know, when I was doing well and my name was in the paper, being linked to this club and that club, I would have agents ringing me constantly. Every day I would have an agent on the phone. And I'm like, well, the only reason you're ringing me is because my name's in the paper. You think you can make a couple of quid out of me, which is fine. I get that. And don't get me wrong, I think agents do have a place in the game. But I wasn't the sort of person that would ring an agent and be like, oh, can you like, you know, get some insurance for my car, or can you book me a holiday? Because I can do that myself. I'm a big boy. You know, but I know there are lads that literally will ring their agent and say, oh, I've just been to the toilet. Oh, I've just been to the supermarket. Yeah. I'm gonna have supermarket. Yeah. You know, that I suppose depending what the player is like, depends on their relationship with an agent. And I just felt, look, you know, I was smart enough to be able to negotiate my own contracts. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I was happy with. Obviously, there might have been times when those bigger clubs were sniffing around me, if I had an agent, they might have gone in and said to Barry, look, Barry, Matt's leaving. You know, he's not going to sign a new deal. And then they'd have encouraged me maybe to, you know, not play and stuff like that to force a deal through. But that wasn't the sort of person that I was. And maybe I was too nice, and maybe I didn't get to where I wanted to go or should have gone because I was, you know, not a walkover, or, you know, but I was too nice. If I'd have sort of thrown my toys out the pram and went, right, sorry, I'm not playing anymore until you sell me, because I know you've had an offer for me. But that's not me. That isn't how I would do things, and I wouldn't encourage anyone else to do that. But we see it happen, and I think sometimes players get bad reputations off the back of the advice they're getting from their agents, and all the agents are doing it to line their own pockets, because they know that if they get their player removed, they'll get a massive chunk of the fee out of it.
And Matt, what can League One and League Two teams do to literally improve their brand?
Improve their brand?
Yeah.
I think these days now, with the power of social media, I think the limits, it's limitless, really. I mean, you see all the social media teams now, like, I mean, I don't know whether you guys, your teams are on social media, but, you know, the likes of like SE Dons and these guys, they're doing fantastic stuff. Obviously, you know, I've spoken to the lads at Grenfell Athletic, you know, and the story behind that is obviously so sad, but what they've then done off the back of it is incredible. And all these things with social media, if you've got guys in the background that are really tech savvy and can generate really good content, then I think you can do something very, very special. And, you know, League One and Two clubs, what I feel, especially the ones that I know about, they don't necessarily get much press. They can definitely do things to do that. And whether it's, you know, obviously the last couple of years we've had with COVID and stuff and helping the NHS, could they have done something like that? Could they have gone and sent some shopping to the nurses and doctors that have been looking after everyone, or done their shopping for them? Or, you know, could they help like the local homeless community and feed them once a week, twice a week, let guys come in for showers at the ground or whatever? There's so many things that could be done at smaller clubs to sort of really help the community. But then also, and you wouldn't be doing it for the publicity, because ultimately clubs probably do this and don't have to have Sky Sports there filming it. But you can definitely help people and create that environment, which would then build the brand, and everyone would then, I think, appreciate it and see it. And you know, I just think the world is now a very, very small place, so you can really, really do something special online.
I love that, Matt. Thank you so much for coming on. And actually, if like, you know, anyone wants to kind of get a hold of you, how like can they contact you?
Well, I mean, again, I'm not massively into social media, but I am on Twitter. I mean, I'm not on Instagram. I do have an account, but I don't ever use it. So yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to contact me, then sort of LinkedIn or Twitter are probably the two best ways.
Love that, Matt. Honestly, thank you so much for coming on, and you know, again, I think you and I are kind of cut from the same cloth. We are both very tidy left-footed players. So I mean that's that's like
I have heard the rumors. Yeah.
What's Barry, man? What's Barry?
Yeah.
Oh,
Barry's shaking his head. He doesn't agree. maybe. And you're better than me.
No, I've seen you play, Matt. You're quality. You was a top quality player.
Thank you. It's very kind.
Don't get into Fabrice's nonsense. Fabrice is a daydreamer, mate. So,
but he's got age on his side, so he can get about the pitch more than I can now. I bet.
I don't know about
that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But honestly, Matt, actually, you know what? You actually did briefly mention about vets.
He's played the vets, yeah.
Yeah. So what team do you play for? What vet side do you play for?
It's literally, honestly, it's really not. I don't even know that you can call it football. And hopefully none of the guys that I play with are going to watch this. But it's we play basically 6-a-side on a Thursday night, right? It's just the dads from school. It's just they're all, and up in Scotland, in Edinburgh especially, it's really rugby orientated. So quite a few of the dads are just rugby dudes. So they're massive, quite fit, and they run around. But we just literally just kind of a bit of a fitness thing on a Thursday. And then during lockdown, one of the guys said, "Should we set up a vets team?" And we're like, "Yeah, might as well. We've got nothing else to do. We're all sitting around just twiddling our thumbs." So we set up a vets team. So in Edinburgh, there was one vets league. And then because quite a few people had the same idea as us, they did 2 leagues. So we went into the bottom division. And I think we came 3rd from bottom. And we were rubbish. I mean, our team was called Stockbridge Old Boys because the nearest sort of little village to us is Stockbridge, and that's where the majority of us live. And we used to get beaten quite a lot. And I mean, I would play centre forwards because I was like, I'm not playing left back. I'm going to be up front. I just kept on getting injured. I kept on pulling my calf every time I used to run for longer than 10 minutes. My calf would go. It was so frustrating.
Oh wow! And what do you think about the emergence of men, the ages of 34 to 40 now kind of finding the love for football again? I mean, is it something that? Well, I know it's something that we should champion, but what could we do to actually champion it more?
I mean, again, there's loads of things you could do. I mean, you could have a sort of a Vets FA Cup, couldn't you? Whether they do that or not already, I don't know. Vets World Cup, stuff like that, and sort of try and qualify for getting, play for your national team and not just have ex-pros playing or whatever. There's got to be loads of different things you could do. But I think it's just brilliant. Whether, it's men over the age of 35 or the walking football or, everything is just actively getting people out, exercising, socializing. As I said, the last 2 years we've been locked away in houses and not seeing human beings, and it's just doing this, just having Zoom calls and stuff with people. I think anyone that can get out and be with friends and just having a bit of fun out in the fresh air, 100%. Doesn't matter how old you are, even if you can't run and you're just walking around, just get out and do something and enjoy life.
I love that, Matt. Honestly, Matt, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure that we'll be speaking real soon.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Cheers, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Take care, Matt. Stay safe.
A big shout out to Matt as well. Again, he was kind of holding on. Even when we was talking about the vets as well, he was kind of holding on very, very patiently. So again, big shout out to
I don't believe him about the women in there.
You know what? Listen, you know what? I mean, I think I think personally, and again, probably Jose can. I think Jose is probably the person I could probably talk
I
about.
never believe Jose. Look at Jose's face.
No, but
I got a girlfriend. I don't do nothing. I got a girlfriend.
But you know what? Like, I think
model professional.
100%. Literally, I believe a lot of footballers kind of get tagged with this. Always playing the field, not intelligent, etc. And I think.
Where are you going now? Who's talking about that?
No, but literally, you're talking about women, and I'm saying it's a stereotype. Like when people say footballers.
What did I say? I think when you go out and women throw yourselves,
he's frozen.
Footballers.
How
How do you handle it? How do they handle that?
Actually, Jose, how do you handle that?
It's like it's distractions. I mean, the way I see it, you're asking someone who's, if you look at it, someone who's really boring. Because I've always had my eyes on what I want. So everything Matt was saying just before, it was resonating a lot with me, to be honest. And an example of the type of person I am, I drove everyone to the Christmas do this season, or as many as I could fit in my Astra. So that's me, because obviously I wasn't drinking, and I don't. So it doesn't really it's not something I can answer. I could probably count in a hand the amount of times I found myself in a nightclub in the last, obviously, even just before COVID. It's if you want to be a professional footballer, and I'm not saying obviously you don't have to live like a monk, obviously, but you have to avoid these distractions, and especially if you get to a higher level, things become particular. Especially now, you're in a bigger spotlight, even, and you got to avoid stuff like that. Obviously, I'm sure it happens to a lot of players. I'm sure if some of the top Premier League players go out now, people will be trying to jump on them, and they're people, they're still human, and but they've just got to keep their heads switched on, know that you're in a public spotlight at all times, and just avoid those scenarios really where you could expose yourself.
FSS said, Barry, restrictions are being lifted. Let's support our friends at Spearmint Rhino. We know exactly where Barry spends his Mondays from 7:30 till 10, because we don't see Barry on any audio conversation until after 10. And then he's full of beans, he's full of energy. Hey, but on a kind of serious level, I mean, Barry, do you think boys from I'd say under 12 to maybe under 16s, 18s should be should be educated, regarding lifestyle, regarding media training, and actually everything else in between? Because again, people just focus on getting that scholar or kind of getting that pro contract.
Sorry, is that for me or for
Coach Barry?
Oh, sorry. Did I say we're talking about educated on life? You're talking about, aren't you?
Yes, Coach Barry.
From under 12.
No, as in, do you think that there's enough education from under 12 to under 16s, under 18s regarding media training, regarding the kind of obstacles that players or teenagers might face if they're at that level?
I think that at that very young age, it depends on family. I think Jose said something very important earlier when he said he's got a very strong support circle around him. That makes a massive difference.
Yeah,
he's supporting them, because a lot of the boys I work with, sometimes they haven't got that support around them. That's why a lot of them fail, or the support around them is the wrong sort of people they've got around them, who's telling them the wrong things. Like we're talking about, let's go out, let's go to a party, let's go to a club. When they can't be doing that if you want to be professional, if you want to get to the very top. So a lot of that. Clubs, I think, when they get into scholarship, all that education should be there. Like we've talked about before. I think one of the biggest problems you get at the very top level, no one's taught about money. No one's taught how to handle money. And that's one of the biggest problems for footballers. They ain't got a clue. And it's sad to see how many footballers end up struggling once their career's over and they've wasted. People go, how did they waste millions? Because if you're earning 50 grand, 150 grand a week, you start living that lifestyle. And some of them don't know how to come away, regress from that lifestyle when you're not earning that no more. I'm not earning 100 grand no more. I'm earning 50 grand now. I'm not earning 50 grand now. I'm earning 20 grand. I've got to learn to adapt, especially if I ever invested or anything like that. So these are the sort of things I think they should be taught, not just education. This is one of the main education. How do I handle money? How do I handle lifestyle with money? Do you understand? In the game and when I come out. They're not really taught that. You just see a lot of the young boys just spend. And then they're following the bigger players who's on a much higher wage and they end up in all kinds of trouble. And sometimes that's how they learn. After they've been in trouble, had that experience, they've had to learn, I can't do that again, I've learned from it. Some of them never learn. Well, Joe's a young player. I think he should say some of the disciplines and what he does. What is your plans if you ever do get to where you want to get? What have you planned? Have you got things in place?
Yeah,
It's very important.
I'm not gonna lie. I've come from a good environment. I've not experienced real hardship apart from obviously the setbacks within the sport.
Yeah.
And I feel like, well, from what I've learned from my experiences, if I'm at that level, I don't think my current lifestyle will change. I'm someone that's quite reserved. I don't feel the need to buy expensive clothes. I don't feel the need to buy an expensive car. I don't feel the need to buy expensive items. It's not I think a lot of players, once they get to that level, they feel the need to suit what the world thinks they have to be. So it's like they need the Gucci football bag. They need the Louis Vuitton belts and all that stuff.
It's that image, though, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of pressure from social media as well.
Yeah.
So people look at footballers and they think they have to be this way, and they don't. It's you just be who you are. Just be true to yourself. And it might sound boring, but it's having that Louis Vuitton belt isn't going to make you a better footballer. It's nice to treat yourself every once in a while. It's nice to just be true to what you need and to what you have, and just be focused, and I feel like, to me, I won't need to spend a lot of money on anything. Just be who I am, and I feel like that will help me in the future as well, because I'll probably have a lot more saved up. I'm thinking about not just me. I want to have kids. I want my family to have a good life. I want to repay, basically everyone that's put their faith on me. I want to be able to repay them one day. So that's
but Jose, not everyone has that structure around them. That's the problem.
Definitely,
so I think a lot of FA should be looking at that way of how do we start to educate these young men who are coming through and who will be earning great amounts of money, and who's just earning a good wage. How do they deal with that, and how do they plan after? There's nothing hardly ever planned after your career, or if you get injured and you get chucked into that life. What is their plans? What is the plan?
For me, even now, like, I'm playing football, I'm still doing my marketing with King's College London masters, and that's online. So as Matt said, you have a lot of free time. So you've got the time to
Are you with the Professional Football Association?
I'm signed for the one in Portugal, but I've not actually looked at the one in the.
How do they help in Portugal? What help do they give you in Portugal?
So as well as judicial support. So if you're ever stuck in a situation where you have contractual issues and you need legal advice, so they provide legal advice, but they also give you access to educational stuff and preparing you for your future. As well as support on how to avoid putting yourself in delicate situations. And what I mean by saying this is, sometimes you're exposed to stuff like match fixing and the type of stuff that's not nice in football, but it's also there. And some players aren't aware when stuff like that happens. So they're being groomed into stuff like that, and they don't even know. And then you find some players being banned for putting their family putting bets on and stuff like that. And in Portugal, the players' union helps players avoid putting themselves in those situations. So it provides some education as well, which is really nice to see.
That's good. Yeah.
I love that.
I don't know. I'm sure the PFA does something similar, but personally, obviously, because I've only just come back to the UK, I'm not entirely sure.
No, that is amazing. That's amazing, guys. Honestly, thank you so much for this conversation. It's been very, very enlightening, and again, thank you, Jose. Thank you to Matt. Thank you to the two Barrys. Actually, Barry, before we go, the Ultimate Sports Network, what is that about?
The Ultimate Sports Network is for anyone in sports, but we also do football. But anyone in sports that wants to network with anyone in their particular sport, they can do that through me, through Telegram. So you just contact me on the Ultimate Sports Network on Twitter or LinkedIn or even Facebook, and we can then set you up and put you in the right group that's for your sport.
And we spoke about education. Again, there are businesses in this group. There are courses as well. So it's kind of not just about sports. It's not about football. It's just there's kind of courses in there that you can invest time in and literally get something out of it. So again, thank you.
And to brief, let me just say that the FA are doing free level 1 and half price level 2 football courses. Okay. Just go onto the FA website and you can see some courses what they're giving out free. I suggest people jump on that. It's free. It's a good qualification what you can use around the world. FA level 1, Playmaker level 1, and level 2, I think it's half price. Okay. So jump on that. They're free, very good courses for free.
Okay, amazing. I will literally put that in this description. But thank you, Coach Barry, for that. Again, Jose, thank you again for coming on. Much appreciated. Hopefully everyone's enjoyed it. It was a kind of a bit of a fiery show, but hey, literally, I like things like this. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week. And trust me, I'm going to get my internet sorted out.
And before all you three disappear, are you all going to be available tomorrow at 9, Barry?
I will definitely be there. I'm very excited for it.
Jose's going to be there. Are you going to be there, Therese?
I'm there. And again, anyone that's listening, please go and connect with Barry.
Jose at 9.
Yeah, literally.
I won't be Baz. I'll be at Spearmint. Sorry, I'm at Spearmint as allegedly.
Oh dear! But again, literally, anyone out there that literally wants to continue the football conversation, contact Barry, and that's Barry from Ultimate Sports Network. And we usually have a Monday night session where we just talk about football. Well, some of us talk about football.
And Eddie Howe we talk about as well.
Yeah, that's what to say. It usually ends up on Eddie Howe somehow.
Yeah, always. And,
the greatest manager. He's a great manager anyway, yeah. Right.
Yeah, and literally, I should want to say someone on this panel loves his porridge and bagel at 10:30 at night. That's all I'm going to say. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. Wishing everyone a positive week, and I will see you next week Sunday. I promise you at 8:00. See you guys later.